Hello and welcome to our Easter QPR Preview Show, the first of the run-in with 8 games to go. We have 4 games inside 12 days to kick off the run-in, and then the final 4 are spread out over 3 weeks. These next 4 games in quick succession are all against teams around us, so will really shape the future of QPR. And we'll preview the first 2 of them in this episode with matches against Birmingham on Good Friday and then Swansea on Easter Monday. In particular, the home match against Birmingham is the latest match that we're probably going to have to call the biggest game of the season. But before we get onto them, a quick word on our last match, which seems so long ago now after the international break, the 0-0 against Sunderland. It was QPR's first 0-0 of 2024. And there was one debate after the game, wasn't there? Was it a good away point or 2 points dropped? How did you see it, Dave?
I guess we'll find out in a couple of weeks. But at the time, I thought it was 2 points drop, really. I thought on the day Sunderland were poor. We had a lot of chances. Anderson had a almost open goal, but was a bit slow finishing it off and missed it. Willock should have scored at the end, although the cutback to him wasn't the best. You know, really in that sort of game when the opposition aren't playing well and we were playing all right, you've got to win that game, really. I mean, it might be a good point come the end of the season if we start by a point, but it does feel like we're leaving a few points out there at the minute. And, you know, these could come back to haunt us because, you know, those last 4 games do look tricky and we haven't been that great in these 6-pointers. So, you know, I thought it was a bit disappointing not to win that game.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's hindsight, isn't it? Is going to probably tell us whether it's a good point. A bit like the West Brom match that felt like 2 points dropped as well. I think when you play a team that doesn't have a shot on target, you've always got to count it as a missed opportunity because you should be beating that team. I felt we did enough to win the game. And as you're saying, we just didn't take our chances. I know a lot of people are saying Willock should have scored at the end, but a bit like what you just alluded to, Armstrong to me hit the ball back at him far too hard and he couldn't direct it where he needed to. I guess the consolation was that all the other teams failed to win and they actually all failed to even score. But we could have given ourselves a bit of a cushion, couldn't we, for these matches now, taking a bit of pressure off the Birmingham match if you're another 2 points down the road. Having said that, I think the objective after Christmas had to be to stay in touch for the running. Back in January, if we looked at that and it was a challenge in itself at that point, we've achieved it. We would have taken this position with 8 games to go. Let's say when we were 1-0 down versus Huddersfield going into injury time, we'd have taken this position, wouldn't we?
Yeah, definitely. Even after the Stoke defeat a couple of weeks ago, you thought we need to be in touch when we go into these end of March games, Easter games, and we are. We're not only in touch, we're out of the bottom 3. They've done really well the last couple of weeks to get themselves in that position, and the form since January has been good. But that is just a frustration that they could be 4 or 5 points better off with just like small margins, and we'd be in so much a better position then. But you know, it is what it is. We're in decent form, and you know, you can't ask so much more going into these games, really.
No. I mean, you're right to highlight that Stoke match as well, because really should have at least got a point that night because Stoke were terrible. West Brom, we just said, should have had an extra 2. Sunderland, an extra 2. You add those points on, and we're probably going into the running thinking we only need another 1 or 2 wins and we'll be fine, even a few draws. It's changed the picture so much and put so much pressure on these games. I think the key thing is QPR remain hard to beat. We're not losing many games, and I think that could be key. It's only 2 defeats in the last 11 games. We've not lost back-to-back games for over 2 months now. So I think when you factor that in also to the fact that we don't concede many since Martí Cifuentes took over, those factors should be giving us some optimism. And let's have a look at the Easter matches then. The first thing I think we've got to say before we go into this period is that all the teams at the bottom, there was that period where we were all winning. Every time we won, everybody else won. That seems to have gone away a little bit now. There's QPR, obviously, 3 without a win. Plymouth and Huddersfield, both 4. Blackburn, 8. And Friday's opponents, Birmingham, are 6 without a win. And like I said at the start, it's another one of those games where it feels like we don't even need to say how important it is. It's massive. 20th versus 21st. And as usual, they're not the side that we've got the greatest recent record against. QPR have only won 2 of the last 8, 3 of the last 11, and QPR haven't scored in the last 3 games against Birmingham. But more positively, they've lost 5 of the last 6, 3 in a row coming into this match, all 1-0. It feels though like we could have done without them bringing in Gary Rowett, doesn't it, as temporary manager? You've got to think that's maybe going to give them a boost.
Yeah, it will do. I mean, they were drifting towards going down, didn't they? But I think that's probably a good appointment, a short-term one to get them, back in it. They're going to come into this one. They're going to try and make it as hard as possible. I mean, really, both teams need a win, really, but a point for them isn't a disaster. They don't want us to let us get away from them, and they are away. So I think it's going to be one of them really tight, horrible matches. And we're just I don't think we're that good in them sort of games where there's not much in it. We're not going to be allowed to play our game. Like it was against West Brom, we're not going to have a lot of time on the ball. It's going to be ugly game, I think. But we've got to try and find a way to win because we're running out of games, and you don't want. I keep saying it. You don't want to go into them last few and have to go and beat Leeds and Coventry because I don't think we will. You need to get the points on the ball before then.
No, I think that's a good word to use, ugly, because I expect Gary Rowett's going to go in there and just try and make them hard to beat at the very least, isn't he? Get them doing the basics well. Because as the stats show, they've been in a bit of disarray since Mowbray had to step away for his medical reasons. I always thought they were going to get a boost if Mowbray could come back in for the final few games. Maybe they've realised he's not going to be back. So now they've gone down this route to try and get the boost that way. We have to say, though, they were sitting 6th in the table when they sacked John Eustace earlier in the season. It's been the ultimate case, hasn't it, of be careful what you wish for.
Yeah, it was such a bizarre thing to sack him. And they did. I thought they started really well. They looked decent. They've still got some good players there. I think their position's a bit of a false one, to be honest, when you see what they've got, on paper at least. But since they sacked Eustace, it's just gone to pot on it. It seemed to be a bizarre reason to bring in Rooney. And then Mowbray did improve a little bit, but obviously he's not been around for a while. It's been a strange season for him, similar to what we were like last year when we were looking good in the playoffs and all of a sudden it all went wrong. But I think they'll look back at that at the end of the season, whatever happens, and think, why did we sack Eustace? Because I don't think they'd be in this position if he'd stayed. I think they'd be comfortably mid-table.
Yeah, and the irony is they're probably now under Gary Rowett going to be playing the pragmatic football that they tried to move away from when they hired Wayne Rooney. I think every fan in the league could see that Eustace had them punching above their weight. You only have to look where they were when he took over. I don't know what they were thinking. We should point out as well that only Rotherham have got a worse away record than Birmingham. They've only got 3 wins from 19, and the 5 without a win, 5 games without a win away from home heading into this one. But of course, every time we have a home game, we have to say only Rotherham have got a worse home record than QPR. So as usual, make of all of that what you will. And I guess that takes us on to QPR. No goals scored in the last 2 games. Is it a concern?
Definitely, and it's been a concern all season. It's hard to see where goals come from. We've got a lot of creative players. We've got some decent forwards, but we don't seem to put together enough. West Brom was probably one of the few games where we created a hell of a lot of chances in the game, and we scored 2 on the night. But we created a fair bit of Sunderland, but never really looked like scoring, to be honest. Apart from them 2 chances you mentioned before, so it is a concern, and it's trying to get that balance right. Between which of the forwards do you play? What do you do with a 3 behind them? It's tricky, and at home when teams tend to sit deep against us, like I think Birmingham will at the weekend, and force us to rush things, we tend to struggle to break them teams down. So yeah, it's definitely a concern, and they're going to need to find goals in the next few, quickly in the next 2 weeks to get out of this.
Yeah, if Birmingham have done the homework, and you imagine they're going to know if we go there and just sit back, QPR are going to struggle to break us down. Try and catch us on the counter-attack, etc. In terms of the goals, Lyndon Dykes is on one of his long runs as usual without a goal. It's now 11 games. They just seem to clock up so quickly for him. Michael Frey still only got 1 goal. We do need them to improve those numbers to just help our cause along. Would you expect Frey to start against Birmingham and then Dykes at Swansea continuing that home and away pattern?
Yeah, possibly. Dykes was poor at Sunderland, wasn't he? I thought he had one of his really poor games. I think what he'll do is start Frey in this one. He does seem to do that. Frey at home and Dykes away. I wouldn't mind seeing Armstrong start, though. I think where we have got a weakness is early on in games when we're trying to play out from the back. We tend to get caught a lot and give away throw-ins and free kicks around our own box, and that's where Birmingham are going to be targeting long throws, trying to cause us problems. But if you've got Armstrong, you can kind of go a bit more direct. You've got pace in behind. They can't play as high up the pitch against us. So it could be something I'd look at doing weekend. He scored a few goals for Ireland the other night. And I thought he played really well when he come on at Sunderland. So I'd like to see Armstrong start, but I do think it'll be Frey that he starts on Friday.
Yeah, I think it'll be Frey against Birmingham. And like you, I think most QPR fans would like to see Armstrong start against Swansea. I think he's earned that start with how he performed at Sunderland. And I just think if you're a defender at the moment, would you want to be playing against Lyndon Dykes or Sinclair Armstrong? Yeah. It's obviously Sinclair Armstrong is that you would not want to face. So we'll see which way he goes with it. He just seems to not want to start Armstrong now, probably in the last 6 weeks. We'll see what he does. A young Arsenal team was beaten 4-0 by a QPR 11 in the break. It was almost all first-team QPR players that were involved. Still, I know it was only a friendly, but it should give us some confidence to be going there and playing like that.
Yeah, definitely not to get a few goals, but I couldn't believe it when I saw the result. But they did well, and Frey got on the score sheet, didn't he? So they need to build a bit of confidence up and get their fitness up ahead of this running. Hopefully they can take that into the running, but I wouldn't read too much into the result. I don't think there was too many first team players playing, was there, for Arsenal?
No, not for Arsenal, no, but for us it was interesting to see how many of the players there, even the likes of Willock, Chair, etc., were all playing. But like I said, I think in football, any win at any level just gives you confidence, putting the ball in the back of the net. Hopefully they got something from it. In terms of the midfield, it's probably the big question every week, isn't it? But Hayden and Colback got the nod against Sunderland. Is that the combination you'd expect to see against Birmingham?
Yeah, probably just for the experience. I thought they both played quite well at Sunderland, especially Hayden. But yeah, I think you'd probably go with them again. It's a difficult one, isn't it? Because I don't think you lose too much when Phil comes in for one of them either, do you? But he does seem to go with those two for the bigger game. So I think he'd go with them to a home. Maybe Field come in for Swansea on Monday.
Yeah, I feel a little bit for Sam Field because he's been first name on the team sheet for like 2 years, hasn't he? And now it's hard to see him really getting in there if they're all fit, especially above Isaac Hayden. For me, he probably is now the first name on the team sheet if he's available. He's clearly top quality player. It's hard to envisage any other QPR changes, really, unless we have injuries or illness. The defence, as we allude to most weeks, kind of picks itself at the moment. Predictions for Birmingham before we have a look at Swansea. What are you expecting on Friday?
I think it'll be a very tight game. There won't be much in it. I really hope we win just to take the pressure off a bit, but I think it'll be a draw, unfortunately. And we drag on for another few weeks.
Yeah, I think the same. Rowett going in just worries me. Like I've alluded to, he's such a pragmatic manager. He'll know how to target QPR, and most other teams always get a result when a new manager comes in. And I expect if we don't score early, it's going to be what we've talked about. They're going to just sit there, make the game tight, frustrate us. It could be a long old afternoon. I really do see a draw coming. Maybe even a 0-0 is probably what I'd predict at this moment in time. And after Birmingham, it's Swansea on Easter Monday. They've moved up to 15th. They're now 7 points clear of the drop zone after a recent upturn in form. They've only lost one of the last 5. Do you see Swansea as safe now?
Oh, yeah, they're definitely safe. I think that win over Cardiff they had recently was a big one for them. And I can't see them getting dragged in now. They've always had a bit too many points, I think, to be dragged in. But yeah, they look in a good position. I quite like their manager. He done a good job at Notts County, didn't he? It'll be interesting to see how he gets on there. But if you're going to pick a team to play at this time of the season, it's going to be one that have got little to play for. That's got to kind of be the way we got to look at this game. We're desperate for points. They'll want to win because they're at home, obviously, and want to build on recent results. But it's a game where I'd probably fancy us more in this one than I do on Friday.
Yeah, the 6 points has only really been the Rotherham match that we've got the 3 points in. So the Birmingham match does worry me. Swansea, they play Sheffield Wednesday on Friday. If they can win that, they'll move literally to a point of safety. And maybe that'll give us a better chance, because maybe they won't be quite as at it as they need to be if they've already got 3 points in the bag. Like you say, the new manager came in, probably struggled a little bit to start with, but since the turn of the month, they've flown up the table, really, and I can't see them being troubled, especially when you take into account goal difference. They're effectively 8 points clear. They probably only need a couple of draws, a win here or there, and they'll be more than finishing probably where they are now. We know Swansea favour lots of possession. Do you see much rotation coming from QPR? It's only a 2-day break between the matches.
I think the 2-day break, there'll be some rotation. He doesn't usually play Willock in both games when we've got quick succession. Probably the same in midfield. Just see, like I said before, his Field to come in. I think Smith might start instead of Willock. and then probably the forward will change. But that potentially, yeah, unless he brings in a Hodge for Anderson, depending how Anderson's fitness is, but he seems to be playing quite regularly at the moment. But I think it'll only because of the quick turnaround he'll make changes for this one, unless something goes horribly wrong on Friday. But I think that's the way he'll do it.
Yeah, it does make it harder to comment now because the Birmingham result's going to have a huge say on how much he rotates. If we win that one comfortably, he probably feels like he can rotate a little bit more. Yeah. If we lose, he's going to have to try and name his strongest 11. I expect the likes of Paul Smith. I'd probably think Joe Hodge could come in for that Swansea one as well for his energy against the team who like to pass it around. We'll see. Predictions for Swansea to finish. Will it be a happy Easter Monday away trip?
Yeah, I fancy it. I think we can nick it. Another tie game, I think we can nick that one. And if we can get 4 points from this weekend, we'll be laughing. I think that'll be a really good effort.
Yeah, 4 points would be a happy Easter. It's actually usually a pretty poor game, isn't it, against Swansea in recent seasons? I had a look, and the last 8 meetings, there's only been 9 goals. I think it could fit that pattern again. I don't want to predict 2-0-0s, but it wouldn't surprise me if the Swansea match again was close, maybe even 1-0 either way. Can't see there being a goal fest in either match, to be honest. But we'll see where it goes. And we do need it to be a successful Easter for QPR because it's another big one next week against Sheffield Wednesday. The more points we can get on board, the sooner rather than later, it's only going to help our cause and stop us getting even more grey hairs with each passing match. We'll be back to preview that Sheffield Wednesday match next week. Thank you for watching. Happy Easter, and come on, yours.
We know who we are. You know who we are. We are QPR.